Hello, welcome to EPG Pashala Spanish. My name is Nabil Ansari and I teach Spanish in the Center of Spanish, Portuguese, Italian and Latin American Studies in Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. We are in the paper entitled Spanish Grammar 1. In this module entitled ¿Qué estamos haciendo? You are going to learn the present continuous form in Spanish, which will help you to talk about the ongoing actions or the continuous action. So in this drawing, the first person is saying no vienes a la ópera conmigo, and the second person replies no cariño, está lloviendo mucho, no me apetece salir. So the question no vienes a la ópera conmigo means are you not coming with me to the opera? And the reply, no cariño, está lloviendo mucho, no me apetece salir, means, no dear, it's raining a lot, I don't feel like going out. And in the second one, the person is saying, tengo que estudiar tanto para mi examen de mañana y estoy pensando en otras cosas. Qué tonta, which means I have to study so much for the tomorrow's exam, and I am thinking about other things. How stupid. So why doesn't the man go to the opera? Porque está lloviendo mucho, meaning it is raining a lot. And in the second one, what is the girl thinking about? La chica está pensando en otras cosas, meaning the girl is thinking about other things. Now in both the drawings or both the dialogues refer to something that is happening at the current moment, or they both are talking about the action that is in progress at the time when it is spoken of. Both the act of raining and thinking are happening at the time they are being referred to. It is in this case we use the present continuous in Spanish, which in Spanish is sometimes called el presente progresivo or simply presente de estar más gerundio, which is the equivalent to the English ing ending. For example, I am watching, I am listening, I am eating. So for this ing, the words which ends with ing in English, which is called present continuous in Spanish, we say it as el presente progresivo or simply el gerundio. Now the gerund form of the verbs is made by adding ando, that is ando, to the stem of ar ending verbs and yendo to the stem of er and ir ending verbs. So the verbs which ends with ar, we remove the stem, that is we remove the last ar from the verb and add ando. For example, the verb hablar ends with ar, so we remove the stem, that is the stem ar, we remove it and we add ando, as you can see. So it will be hablando. So the gerund form of hablar will be hablando. Same way, let's take another example. The verb is trabajar, another verb ending with ar, so we remove the stem ar and we add ando, that is ando. So the gerund form of trabajar will be trabajando. Same way as I mentioned, if the verb is ending in er, then we remove the stem er and add iendo, iendo. Now the verb is comer. Thus, if the verb is ending in er, so we have to remove the stem and add iendo, that is iendo. So for example, if the verb is comer, so ending in er, so we remove the stem er and add iendo, and the gerund form will be comiendo. Same way, if the verb is beber, and the gerund form of this verb then will be bebiendo. So we remove the stem er and add iendo. So bebe will be bebiendo. So the verbs ending in er, like comer, the gerund form will be comiendo, and beber, the gerund form will be bebiendo. Same way, if the verb ends with ir, it will also have the same ending as er, that is iendo. So for example, if the verb is escribir, we remove the stem ir and add iendo. So escribir will become escribiendo. Same way, vivir, the verb vivir ending in ir, the gerund form of this ir ending verb will be viviendo. So ir ending verbs like escribir, the gerund form will be escribiendo, and for the verb vivir, the gerund form will be viviendo. Now the gerund form is formed by the present continuous is formed by combining the verb estar with the gerund form of the verbs. So as we have already seen, ar ending verbs add ando, like estudiando. er and ir ending verbs, we add iendo to the stem, like bebiendo and escribiendo. So for forming the present continuous, we will add the gerund form of the verb with the verb estar. So remember, the conjugation of the verb estar is yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella, usted está, nosotros estamos, nosotras estamos, vosotros and vosotras estáis, ellos, ellas y ustedes están. So with this, the conjugation of the verb estar, we can add the gerund form of the verb. For example, if I say estoy estudiando, meaning I am studying. So the gerund form beber, bebiendo, if I say estoy bebiendo, it means I am drinking. And the gerund form of the verb escribir, escribiendo. So if I say estoy escribiendo, it means I am writing. So it tells about the continuous or the action which is going on. So it can also be used with the other forms of the verb estar, that is the which depends on the subject. So if it is, the subject is tú, so it will be estás. Same way, if the subject is él, ella, usted, so the conjugation or the form will be está. So está estudiando, está bebiendo, or está escribiendo. Likewise, for other subject forms like nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, and ellos, ellas, ustedes. Now note that the gerund form never changes in gender or number, which means that the gerund form remains same for both masculine and for feminine. So estudiando will remain same for both masculine as well as feminine gender, and it also never changes with number. So if the noun is singular, then also it will be estudiando, and if the noun is plural, then also the gerund form will be estudiando. For example, Maria está estudiando. So here it's a girl, Maria está estudiando, which means Maria is studying. So here in this sentence it's a girl, but then also gerund form remains estudiando. And the same thing can be said with a masculine. For example, Juan está estudiando, meaning Juan is studying. So no change in the gerund form. And if the same thing is said in plural, meaning if there are more than one person, for example Maria and Juan, then also the gerund form will not change. For example, María y Juan están estudiando. So the gerund will not change, but what will change is the verb estar, which will change according to the subject. So as we have seen in these three examples, the verb estar changes, but the gerund form never changes. Now there are some irregular forms of the gerund. For example, leer, creer, construir. So leer will become leyendo, and it will not be leyendo. Creer will be creyendo, it will not be criendo. And construir will be construyendo. So as we have seen earlier, the verbs ending in er and ir, they have the ending yendo, but there are some irregular verbs like leer, creer and construir, whereby it will not, the ending will not be yendo but yendo, that is yendo. So it will be leyendo, creyendo, construyendo. It is true for all the verbs whose stems end in a vowel. Thus, if the stem of er, ir verbs ends in a vowel, then yendo changes to yendo. For example, the verb atraer, so it is, the stem is atra, so ending in a, so the gerund form will be atrayendo. So the verb is caer, again the stem is ca, that is ca, ending in a, that is a vowel, so it will be cayendo. Same way, contraer will be contrayendo. Creer, remove the ending er, so it will be creyendo. Leer will be leyendo, and traer will be trayendo. So these verbs like atraer, caer, contraer, creer, leer, y traer, whose stem ends with a vowel, so all these verbs will have ending yendo. Same way, there are ir verbs whose stem ends with a vowel. For example, verbs like construir will be construyendo, contribuir will be contribuyendo, excluir will be excluyendo, destruir will be destruyendo, huir will be huyendo, incluir will be incluyendo, influir will be influyendo, and oír will be oyendo. So all these verbs in infinitive will mean, for example, atraer will mean to attract, caer will mean to fall. Likewise, for the last one, the verb that we have seen, oír, will mean to hear. But in the gerund form, like cayendo, this cayendo means falling. So gerund form of, for example, the verb leer, leyendo means reading. Same way, oyendo will mean listening. So the gerund form of these verbs will end with ing of English. Apart from this irregularity, there are some irregularities in irregular stem changing ir ending verbs. Those verbs which undergo stem change, that is, the o, the vowel o changes into u, e or u. For example, the verb dormir in the present tense is duermo, and the verb morir is muero. And these verbs whereby o changes into u, e, take the u in the gerund form. So it will not be dormiendo, but it will be durmiendo. So o will change into u. Same way, morir will not be muriendo, but it will be muriendo. So dormir, durmiendo, and morir, muriendo. So verbs which has got the vowel u, which changes into ue in the present tense. In the gerund form, this o will simply change into u. Now those verbs which undergo a stem change from e to ie, like sentir, in the present tense the conjugation was siento, siente, siente. Same way mentir, and the conjugation of the verb mentir in the present tense is miento, mientes. Now these stem changing verbs which change from e to ie in present tense will take the I, the vowel I, in the gerund form. So sentir will be sintiendo and not sentiendo, and mentir will be mintiendo. So simply these radical stem changing verbs which changes into from e to ie will simply have I in the gerund form. So sentir is sintiendo and mentir will be mintiendo. And those verbs which undergo stem change from e to I, like pedir, in the present tense the conjugation of the verb pedir is pido, pides, pide. So e changes into I. Same with the verb like seguir, and the conjugation of the verb seguir is sigo, sigues, sigue. So in the gerund form, these verbs will simply take I and will go with the ending iendo. So for example, pedir will be pidiendo and not pediendo, and seguir will be siguiendo and not seguiendo. But there is one verb which ends with ir, which is irregular, which doesn't follow any rule, and that verb is ir, meaning to go. So ir is a irregular verb in many tenses. So if you were to treat it as a regular ir verb, then take away the ir, you would be left with simply iendo, but that is not the case. And the gerund form of ir is yendo, that is y-e-n-d-o. So the gerund form of the verb ir is not yendo but simply yendo. Now let's see some examples of gerundio. For example, Sofía está leyendo, meaning Sofía is reading. Juan está escribiendo, meaning Juan is writing. Ella está diciendo la verdad, meaning she is telling the truth. Estoy hablando por teléfono, meaning I am talking on the phone. Los niños están durmiendo, meaning the children are sleeping. So in these examples, the gerund form used are leyendo, which comes from the verb leer, escribiendo, which comes from the verb escribir, diciendo, which comes from the verb decir, hablando, which comes from the verb hablar, and durmiendo, which comes from the verb dormir. Now in case of reflexive verbs, the reflexive pronoun is placed either before estar or is combined with the gerund. Now nothing can be placed in between estar and the gerund. For example, the reflexive verb levantarse. Remember, the conjugation of the reflexive verb levantarse was me levanto, te levantas, se levanta, nos levantamos, os levantáis, se levantan. But in the present continuous tense, when we are using the verb estar with gerund, so the pronoun me will come before the verb estar. So me levanto in the present continuous will be me estoy levantando, or this pronoun can come at the end also, and the same thing can be said as estoy levantándome. But remember, these pronoun or any pronoun cannot come in between the verb estar, that is estoy, and the gerund form of the levantar, that is levantando. So you cannot say estoy me levantando, which will be wrong. So pronoun will come before the verb estar or after the second verb. So it can be either me estoy levantando or estoy levantándome. Same way, another reflexive verb, another example, sentarse, meaning to sit. And when we use it in the present continuous, between the verb estar and the gerund form of sentar, the pronoun will not come. It will come before the verb estar, that is te estás sentando, or it can come after the second verb, that is the same thing can be said as estás sentándote, meaning you are sitting. Now in negative sentences, the no is placed before estar. So if I say in a positive, in an affirmative sentence, estoy viendo la Copa Mundial, meaning I am watching the World Cup. So in negative sentence, I can say the same thing by putting no before the verb estar, and it will be no estoy viendo la Copa Mundial, meaning I am not watching the World Cup. Same way, no me estoy lavando, meaning I am not washing. Lavarse, to wash oneself. So no me estoy lavando. And for any other sentences, if you want to say in negative, so then the negation no will be placed before the verb estar or before the pronoun me tele nos os, me te se nos os se, if the verb is reflexive, and the no will always be in the beginning of the sentence. After having seen the how this gerund is formed and how it is used in sentences, let's talk about the use of the present continuous tense. Now, the present continuous formed by combining estar with the gerund form of the verbs is used to refer to actions that are currently going on. If I say, ¿qué estás haciendo? It means, what are you doing? And if the person replies, estoy escuchando una canción de Shakira, meaning, I am listening to a song of Shakira. So this, the present continuous tense is refers to actions that are currently going on. For example, if someone calls and says, ¿Estás almorzando? Meaning, are you having lunch? And the person replies, no, todavía estoy trabajando. Meaning, no, still I am working. So they are talking about, or they are referring to actions that are currently going on. Another example, if someone asks, ¿Qué estás haciendo? Meaning, what are you doing? And the other person replies, estoy mirando el nuevo restaurante, which means I am looking at the new restaurant. So again, the second person and also the first person is and they are referring to the actions which are going on at that time when they are being referred to. Now they can also be used with the following time markers to denote a temporary situation or condition which is not habitual. And these time markers are ahora, meaning now, en este momento, meaning at this time, ahora mismo, meaning right now, últimamente, meaning lately, and estos días, meaning these days. Let's see some more examples with the time markers. For example, siempre escucho la música rock, pero ahora estoy escuchando música clásica. Meaning I always listen to rock music, but now I am listening to classical music. So in this sentence, the time marker is used, which is used is ahora. Second example, Luisa trabaja de peluquera, pero estos días está trabajando de camarera en un bar. Meaning, Luisa works as a hairdresser, but these days she is working as a waitress in a bar. So the time marker used here in this sentence is estos días. The third example, normalmente llueve mucho, pero este año está lloviendo muy poco. Meaning, normally it rains a lot, but this year it's raining very little. So the time marker which is used here is normalmente, meaning normally. Now these time markers also help us to contrast the use of present continuous with the simple present tense, as simple present is used to denote normal or habitual happenings and present continuous marks a deviation from that, because the present continuous talks about the ongoing action. So for example, if the sentence is yo voy a la escuela en autobús, pero ahora estoy yendo en taxi, meaning I go to school by bus, but now I am going by taxi. So in this there is a contrast, because in the first part of the sentence the present tense is used, which talks about the habitual or normal happenings, that I go to school by bus. But in the second part, the present continuous is used because it refers to the present action, and that now, and in the sentence it says that now I am going by taxi. So it deviates from the normal or habitual things that a person does. Let's see some more examples whereby the present tense as well as the present continuous is these two tenses are used. For example, hago gimnasia por las tardes. Esta tarde estoy cocinando para mi familia, which means I do exercises in the afternoon. This afternoon I am cooking for my family. So again, the first part of the sentence, the person is talking about habitual happenings, that's why he is using the present tense. And in the second part, he is talking about the ongoing action, that's why he is using the gerund form, that is estoy cocinando. And the last example is normalmente veo las noticias a esas horas. Ahora estoy viendo una telenovela inglesa. Meaning, normally I watch the news at this time. Now I am watching a British TV serial or a British soap opera, because the present continuous here, the gerund form is used again because he is talking about the ongoing action. Now let's talk about when the present continuous or the present progressive is not used in Spanish. So it is not used for denoting future actions as in English. But as in English we say, are you coming with us to the movies? So we talk about future action. But in Spanish we use the present tense, and that is the same can be said as vienes con nosotros al cine. Same way, if I say no, I am helping my mother to cook, then we can use the gerund form, that is no estoy ayudando a mi madre a cocinar. So here continuous action there, that's why we use the gerund form. But for future actions or the action that denotes future, we do not use the present continuous or the gerund form in Spanish. For example, Another example, in English we say I'm going to go to the movies tomorrow. We're talking about future action. But in Spanish the same thing can be said as voy a ir al cine mañana. Same way, in English we say we are leaving for Madrid tomorrow. But in Spanish we do not use the present continuous tense, but we use the simple present and we say salimos para Madrid mañana, meaning we are leaving for Madrid tomorrow. We also don't use the gerund form with the verbs ir and venir, as they are already movement verbs. For example, we say we are going a lot to the movies this year. So this can be said in present tense, and that will be vamos mucho al cine este año. Another example with the verb venir, the boys are coming to my house today, and this will be said in present tense, that is los chicos vienen a mi casa hoy. And the gerund form is also not used with the verbs like conocer, comprender, entender, poder, querer, necesitar, preferir, odiar, parecer, tener, etc. For example, with the verb tener, if we say I'm having fever, then the same can be said as tengo fiebre, even though it talks about the ongoing thing. Same way, we cannot use the gerund form with odiar. And if I say I hate winters, even though I'm talking about the present continuous, but the same will be said as odio el invierno, that is in present tense. Same way, there are other examples in the e-text which you can refer back to. Now the gerund form is also not it is not used as a noun. For the noun functions such as subject or after a preposition, you must use the infinitive form of the verb. For example, as subject, when we say listening to loud music damages our ears, so this can be for this we do not use the gerund form, but we will use the infinitive form of the verb, and it will be escuchar música fuerte te lastima los oídos. Same way, when we say learning Spanish is fun, the same thing can be said as aprender español es divertido. And it will be also not used after a preposition, that is after, if I say after listening to loud music I always get headache, so after this preposition we will not use the gerund form, and we will say después de escuchar música fuerte siempre me duele la cabeza. And also there are difference between English and Spanish language when we are talking about the present continuous tense, or when we are talking about the gerund form. And these differences, if you want to know more about these differences, so you should refer back to the e-text, because these differences and other examples are given over there. And not only that, the e-text has got a lot of exercises as well as other examples, and also links if you want to learn more about the gerund form of in Spanish. And it has also got text which you can read, and you can see how the gerund form is used in Spanish text. Thank you.